Have you ever, tried to explain something and the words just don't cut it? Like trying to describe a dream or how amazing a sunset looked?
Oh, totally. It happens to me all the time, especially with abstract ideas or emotions or, really complex topics.
It's like trying to describe what chocolate tastes like to someone who's never had it.
Right. You can list off all the qualities, but they won't really get it until they experience it themselves.
Exactly. So what if we could actually share experiences like that directly? Not just talk about them, but transmit the actual feeling, the understanding from one mind to another.
Well, that's what we're diving into today, the concept of sharing imaginations.
We've got research articles, think tanks, all buzzing about this idea.
Yeah.
And it's not as sci-fi as it sounds.
Not at all.
Oh,
In
no.
fact, we're going to explore how technologies like XR and AI are paving the way for this to actually happen.
Okay, hold up for a sec. For anyone who's not a total techie, what exactly is XR again?
XR basically covers all the immersive technologies out there, like VR, AR, you name it. Think of those headsets gamers use.
Oh, yeah. But instead of fighting zombies, we're talking about stepping into a shared mental space.
Precisely. It's like a telepathic meeting of the minds. But here's the really wild part. It's not just about seeing the same virtual environment.
Okay, I'm listening.
It's about aligning our brains using all kinds of tools. Think imagery graphs, even predictive modeling to bridge the gap between our thoughts.
Wait, so you're saying we could translate thoughts into images and charts and 3D models that we could both experience in real time?
Exactly. Imagine explaining a complex mathematical equation, and instead of just seeing numbers, you're immersed in a 3D representation of it. You can explore it spatially, watch how the variables interact.
Whoa, that's next level. But it's got to be more than just a cool visual, right? We're talking about actually transferring understanding.
That's the goal. We're aiming to bypass the limitations of traditional communication and tap into a more direct, almost telepathic form of data transfer.
Telepathy. Okay, now you're speaking my language.
Okay.
Well, we're talking tech here, right? How does that even work?
Well, we know emotions have physiological components, things like changes in heart rate, brain activity, even subtle muscle movements. What if we could capture those signals and translate them into sensory feedback in the XR environment?
So you're saying instead of just saying, I'm sad, you might actually feel a wave of sadness wash over you in the XR space.
Precisely. It would allow for a much deeper level of empathy and understanding.
My mind is officially blown. I always thought telepathy was the stuff of fantasy novels.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about it in a scientific context. This could completely change how we connect as humans, right?
It really could. Imagine a world where we communicate feelings, ideas, artistic visions with total clarity and depth.
No more misunderstandings, no more struggling to find the right words. We just transmit the experience directly. It's like merging consciousness in a way.
In a sense, yes. Now, this tech is still in its early phases, but the possibilities are pretty exciting. Just imagine therapists who can truly empathize with their patients' trauma by experiencing it firsthand.
That's amazing. Talk about building trust. And what about creative fields like music and film? Imagine being able to share the exact emotion or vision you have directly with your collaborators.
Exactly. Or think about education. Students struggling with a tough concept could suddenly understand it on a deeper level by actually experiencing it in an immersive, interactive way.
No more falling asleep in lectures.
Rah.
You're literally stepping inside the concept and feeling it come alive around you. It revolutionized learning.
But what about something like business negotiations? It's not always about emotions, right? Sometimes it's about logic, data strategy.
Even in those scenarios, this technology could be a game changer. Imagine two CEOs negotiating a merger. Instead of staring at spreadsheets, they could visualize the potential outcomes of their decisions in a shared XR environment.
So instead of just talking about numbers, they're experiencing the impact of their choices in a tangible, almost visceral way. That could lead to better, more collaborative decisions. Precisely. And think about scientific research. Scientists around the world collaborating in real time, sharing data visualizations, and even their intuitive insights through this shared space.
It's like we're amplifying human intelligence by connecting our brains in a completely new way. It's pretty awe-inspiring, but with any powerful tech, there are always risks. What should we be cautious about as this develops?
One of the biggest challenges will be ethical use and responsibility. We need to think carefully about the privacy implications of sharing such personal data.
Yeah, imagine if someone could access your deepest fears or most private memories. The potential for manipulation is definitely scary.
Absolutely. We need to have strong safeguards and protocols in place. Another challenge is equitable access. We don't want to create a world where only the privileged few can share their imaginations.
Right. It could make existing inequalities even worse. We need to ensure this technology is available to everyone, regardless of their background.
And we also need to consider the potential impact on individual creativity. If we're constantly sharing imaginations, will we still be able to come up with our own unique ideas and perspectives?
That's a good point. I guess it all comes down to finding the right balance, embracing shared experiences while also nurturing our own individuality.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot where technology enhances our human capabilities without taking away what makes us unique.
Okay, so we've talked about the potential benefits and the challenges, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the bigger picture. How do you see this technology shaping humanity's future?
I think it has the potential to completely change the way we understand ourselves and our place in the universe.
Wow, that's a bold statement. What do you mean by that?
If we can genuinely share imaginations, we can start to break down the barriers of language, culture, and individual experience.
We could finally understand what it's like to walk in someone else's shoes, or rather, experience the world through their mind.
And that could lead to a level of empathy and compassion that's simply not possible with how we communicate now. Imagine conflict resolution based on shared understanding instead of misunderstanding.
Where prejudice and bigotry fade away because we can actually experience the world through each other's eyes. It's a beautiful vision, but also a bit utopian, isn't it?
Perhaps, but I believe it's a vision worth striving for. Technology alone can't solve everything, but it can give us the tools to create a more just compassionate and interconnected world.
I love that. It's not about technology replacing humanity, but about technology amplifying our best qualities like empathy, creativity, and our ability to connect.
Exactly. It's about using these tools to build bridges between minds, hearts, and cultures.
Okay, we've covered a lot today, from the science behind shared imaginations to the philosophical implications of connecting our minds. What a ride.
It has, and we're really just at the beginning of this conversation. The future of shared imaginations is still being written, and it's up to all of us to shape it in a way that benefits humanity.
It really feels like we're on the edge of a whole new era of human connection.
It does, doesn't it? It's exciting, but also kind of overwhelming.
Yeah, for sure. So much potential, but also a lot of responsibility to make sure we use this tech for good.
Absolutely. And that's something we need to keep in mind as we go deeper into this today. It's not just about the technology itself, it's about the choices we make and the values we prioritize as we develop and integrate these tools into our lives.
It's like we're giving humanity this incredible power, but we need to make sure we use it wisely.
Exactly. So before we wrap things up, I want to leave our listeners with a thought experiment. We've been talking about sharing our own imaginations, but what if we could tap into the collective imagination of all humanity?
Whoa, okay, now that's getting deep. Are you talking about some kind of universal consciousness?
Not quite. But imagine a massive interconnected network of shared imaginations, like a global library of human experience that's constantly evolving and growing. We could access the wisdom, creativity, and insights of people from all walks of life across cultures and throughout history.
That's an incredible image.
Mhm.
It's like taking the internet to a whole new level, not just sharing information, but sharing actual experiences, emotions, understanding. It would completely change fields, like education research, even art.
Imagine a student being able to experience firsthand what it was like to live in ancient Rome, or witness the signing of the Declaration of Independence, or a scientist being able to tap into the combined knowledge of researchers all over the world working together to solve some of humanity's biggest challenges.
The possibilities are mind-blowing, but I wonder if we had access to all those experiences, would we still value our own individual imaginations as much?
That's a great question, and something we definitely need to think about as this technology develops.
Yeah.
I think the key is balance, embracing interconnectedness while still nurturing our own unique perspectives and creativity.
It's about understanding that the collective is made up of individuals, each with something important to contribute. So it's not about losing ourselves in this shared imagination, but enriching ourselves and the collective through connection.
Perfectly said. It's like a symphony with each instrument playing its own part to create a beautiful sound.
Okay, I'm inspired. We've given our listeners a lot to think about today, from the mechanics of how shared imaginations might work to the philosophical side of connecting our minds in such a deep way.
It's been a journey for sure, and it's only the beginning. This conversation about shared imaginations is just getting started, and it's up to all of us to shape it in a positive way.
It feels like we're on the verge of something huge, a whole new era of human connection.
It does, right? Exciting and a little bit scary at the same time.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We've seen how powerful this technology could be, so we really need to be careful and to make sure it's used for the right reasons.
Couldn't agree more. And that's a perfect takeaway from our deep dive today. We've explored the potential of shared imaginations, but it's not just about the tech itself. It's about us and the choices we make as we move forward.
It's about using this power responsibly and shaping the future in a way that benefits everyone.
Well said. So listeners, we've taken you on a journey through the science, the possibilities, and even the philosophical implications of shared imaginations. But this is just the beginning. There's still so much to explore and discover.
It's really up to all of us to keep asking questions, pushing boundaries, and shaping this technology in a way that makes the world a better place.
Exactly. So keep those imaginations firing, and who knows, maybe one day we'll be sharing those imaginations in ways we can't even dream of right now.
I can't wait to see what the future holds. And that's a wrap on our deep dive into shared imaginations. Thanks for joining us.